like horoscopes and other things. So we picked up these three themes of engage, entertain, and educate. And we animated these and put them on the screens. And I don't know if any of you have seen, like in Engage, we have a program like, we call it Make My Word, which is Scrabble on the screens, right? So there's a word jumble, you got to unjumble it, and people kind of find it challenging to look and solve it. You know, it involves people. Similarly, we have something called as Mehta, where through reverse animation, we show a caricature of a popular figure, and while it's being drawn, you have to guess who it is, right? So things like this. Similarly, on the entertainment side, we have Kitty and Witty, which is a rendition of poor jokes, actually, put up on the screen through animation. So like this, horoscopes is very popular. So we put a collection of these, and all of these were 30 seconds each or so, because again, realizing our position that we are not the primary focus for people in those locations, right? So we had to keep our content very simple and very crisp and short, so that in a glance people could look at it, because ultimately we are a glance medium. We are not appointment viewing, right? So we kept it 30 seconds each, and then in between started sprinkling advertising. So this is how we kind of created the media, and the media was ready. The next challenge was, how do you get advertisers now? You know, because it's very difficult to take money out of people's pocket, especially for media, right? Because there's oversupply of media everywhere. So we said, okay, what are the kind of advertisers we're going to look at, and what value proposition are we going to give them? So the value proposition, one was that we will help you reach out to people who are thin users of media, who don't use media very much. So youth, for example, right? Today, youth are not at home to watch TV, right? They're spending a lot of their time outdoors, or they have kind of moved away from press a little bit. They don't read as much today as, you know, perhaps we in our times read. So we said, okay, you know, so we will go after brands which are focusing on youth. The second was, you know, white collar people. Again, because of the busy lifestyles, they're not watching television as much, they're not reading as much, but they are spending time in the gym in the morning to maintain their this thing, or they are spending time in a club, you know. So we figured out who our advertisers, potential advertisers would be, and then started approaching them. And we had to use all tricks of the trade to woo them. To some, for example, Maruti was the first one which signed up with us, and we gave them exclusivity, saying that we will not bring any automobile advertiser for the next 6 months, right? If you do it exclusive with us. And nothing was working with them. We were going and making presentations, how good it is, nothing worked with them. When we offered this, suddenly it clicked, right? And we got our break. Similarly, we started looking for some new players in the market, you know, people who were possibly not exposed to advertising as much. And we started going to them and telling them about our medium, and we did get a few of them as well. So like that, in some cases, we had to offer free advertising into certain customer segment. For example, telecom was looking, or, you know, turning out to be hard to get. So we kind of in free gave a 1-month campaign to a brand, and seeing them, because they were the leaders, all others came in. So, you know, normal tricks of the trade we had to use. So that's how we got started on, you know, our revenue generation, our advertising. So we now had a media network running. So we had screens, we had content, and now we had advertising. And this all happened fairly quickly. You know, in 3 months' time, 4 months' time, we were able to put up around 300, 400 screens that we could afford from our pocket and get good. So now was a bigger challenge. You know, how do we get money to expand? Because 300 screens will not take us anywhere. So fortunately, our business model was working, because we were earning revenue. We couldn't say at that time whether we were profitable, but operationally, we were in the green, right? We could, you know, obviously not taking the depreciation and those kind of things, right? So we had something good to show to the investors, right? And therefore, we started now saying, okay, let's approach the investors. And the criteria that we used for looking at or shortlisting investors was, first thing, which are the investors who understand media, right? Because not everybody does, and if they don't understand the sector that you're wanting to get them to investors, then you will waste a lot of time educating them, and by that time, a lot of water flows. Right? So we said, who are the VCs who already kind of doing alternate new media, right? So we shortlisted a few. Then we also did a little bit of a research on which of the VCs are fertile right now. When I say fertile, all these VCs have funds which have a lifespan, right? So if a fund they've raised in 2004 and is ending in, let's say, 2009, and if you go to them in 2008 to invest, they're unlikely. They will talk to you, they'll hear you, but they don't have enough gunpowder with them to, put it in your listening. So we did a little bit of a homework on these, and then we identified DFJ, that's Draper Fisher Gilliston, the same company which funded Hotmail and Skype and all these. And we went to them and said, listen, this is our business, this is how it is working, and if you're keen, we will talk only to you and nobody else until you say yes or no, right? And that was good, because otherwise what happens is, and we didn't use any investment bank or anything, we did it all ourselves. And I think that really clicked with them, because when an entrepreneur goes himself, I think he's able to demonstrate the passion, he's able to demonstrate, his business, he's able to communicate that very well. Unlike when you get a investment banker who obviously, though very committed and very good, will not be able to convey the same passion that you are able to. And by saying that we will not show it to anybody, see, VCs also have competition. If I have a good business going and I go and show it to 4, then competition starts between them, and they don't like that. So if you're able to give an exclusive to somebody, they think, it's like a catch for them. And fortunately, it worked for us. But honestly, and I was sharing this with Ajit as well, in hindsight, I can say all this, that, oh, we did this and we did that. But the real reason is we were just pure lucky. Our timing was superb, right? Because India was shining at that time. If today I was to raise funding for this venture, probably I will not get it, right? But we were just pure lucky, right time, right business, and we got funding. So what I wanted to leave with you here is, they say trend is a friend, right? So for funding, you have to, VCs move in a trend. If e-com is hot, and if you're amongst the first 4, you have to time it very well. You will get funded. If you are much before, you may still get funded, but they will waste a lot of your time. And if you're at number 10th, then you will not get funded. So you have to spot these trends. Where is the investment going? And really see. But more important than that, I was sharing with Ajit again, is I see, especially amongst youngsters these days, the focus is on raising funding, not on building your business. I think if your focus is on building business, funding will follow. Because as much as you want funding, for VCs, their businesses to fund. So they are, more than you, they are keenly looking at businesses that are fundable, right? That can generate, that can turn into good businesses. So if you focus on the objectives of your business, funding will follow, it will not. So now we had screens, we had content, we had advertisers, and we got funding, right? Everything going good. So we started kind of really spreading ourselves in the market. And within 3 months, we saw 25 players from various nooks and corners, right? People thought it's a gold rush, right? And every uncle and his cousin and his probably sister's husband or whatever came into this business, right? And within another 3 months, 4 months, the business model inverted. So on one hand, there was competition to go and get or sign up with the right locations where you could put up your screens. And there was, let's say, one location and 10 people going and wanting to sign up. So the cost of acquiring these locations really started going up, right? On the other hand, there was, let's say, one advertiser and 10 people going and saying, no, you advertise with me, no, I'm better. So, and the price started dropping. So your cost went here and your price came